Hey everyone, Sidewalk Runner here. You know, I love being in the outdoors and I absolutely love riding on the road, but there's definitely some hazards to be had, be it bikers, pedestrians, and heck, even road hazards. Shifting to the sidewalk can help alleviate with the traffic, but there's still some dangers to be had if you're not careful. Today I'm going to show you some tips on how to stay safe on the slabbed concrete. In this guide, we're going to go over daytime running, nighttime running, and the gear that I use when trying to stay safe on the sidewalk. One of the biggest safety assets you could ever have while being on the road is to be visible at all times. The sun is a huge help in this regard, but just because it's daylight doesn't mean you can easily be seen. From a distance, you could be hiding in the shadows. Lighter clothing is recommended, but even clothing that's not overly dark could be just as effective. Being seen by others is one thing, but eventually you're going to cross paths, and that's where you gotta learn to share the road. When a single pedestrian is coming my way, I tend to shift all the way to the right and hope that they do the same so that we may pass each other. But be warned, sometimes they may not do so. One thing I tend to do, if I'm able to, is simply go on the grass and give them the entire sidewalk. Others might be out in the sidewalk with you, so always look out for them so you know where they are and you know where they might be heading. Be friendly, wave, smile, or give them my personal favorite. Crossing streets can be a big hazard too. Always watch the turn lanes before you make your move. You should never assume that cars will simply stop for you. You should always watch their front tires to see where they might be heading. Run out of sidewalk, you say? Well, go ahead and find another. And if you can't, then go on the side of the road or a bike lane if you absolutely have to. Being seen by others is good, and sharing with others is good, but we should always have an escape plan in case things get dicey. Having a reliable contact on standby when you're out in the road is a big help in case anything goes wrong. Nighttime running can be a little bit more difficult in that regard, but it's always good to have just in case. Most other people are ready to help in your time of need during races or other events, but your own personal backup is that extra layer of protection. While running solo certainly has its benefits, running with your buddies is always a good time. Increasing your visibility, sharing the path wherever it takes you, and has your back in emergencies, they're the first 3 tips rolled into one. So those are my tips for daytime running. Be visible, share the path, prep for evac, and run in packs. Alright, so we got daytime running figured out. Well, what about when the sun goes down and the moon comes out to play? Even though darkness has descended upon the land and it's not easy to see anymore, the daytime tips are still just as valuable. Being seen is still a must, others might be out with you, an escape plan is just as important, and your buddies can give all those benefits even without the sunshine. We want to be visible in the daylight, but we must take it a step further in the dark and make ourselves be known. Light-colored clothing definitely is recommended, but it's only mildly effective in the darkness. The best way to announce yourself in the shadows is by wearing lights, such as headlamps and light vests. We'll get to those in a minute. If those are outside of your budget or need light in a pinch, even a flashlight or the light from your phone is better than nothing. As your visibility is dropped by the darkness, it might be harder to know where you are, so sticking to common routes is a safe bet. Picking paths that you trek often, or to common destinations, can help you and others, especially your evac person, keep tabs on your location. I would definitely recommend to stick to lit paths where available, and endpoints should be recognizable places like parks or landmarks. Getting others to pay attention to you is tough, but doing so in the cover of darkness is even worse, which is why you should always be aware of your surroundings. Traffic at this time will most likely be lighter to almost barren, but it will also potentially become more dangerous overall. Impaired drivers, coupled with the lower visibility, is a greater concern. Other pedestrians may be out with you in this late hour, but they may not be very visible compared to you. So on top of my tips for daytime running, be sure to be known, know where you are and where you're going, and always be vigilant. So now that we got the daytime and nighttime running figured out, let's talk about the gear that I use. Regardless if the sun is out or not, the right gear can keep you safer at all times. One of the biggest and best investments I've ever made is with my Noxgear Tracer 360 light vest. Multiple colors and illumination modes, light in weight, and visible from up to a mile away, I've always felt a little bit safer lighting up the sidewalk with it. Shining brighter in the dark works well, but what about everything ahead of me? That's where my Foxelli MX500 headlamp comes in. It's rechargeable, has 5 light modes, waterproof, and it's comfy to wear. It's sure to be a valuable beacon for you. So what about the clothes that I wear? Well, there are a few characteristics I look for in my attire. My shirts are all Under Armour compression shirts. Light in weight, never chafes, and helps keep me cool. My shorts are usually 7-inch running shorts with the mesh taken out, as I also wear Under Armour compression shorts underneath them. The headbands and wristbands I usually wear are standard Under Armour ones. As I mentioned before, the colors of the clothes only play a small factor in your visibility, so I would say go for a mix of colors. On the digital side of things, this tool helps with our tip regarding an escape plan, a live tracking app. I created a video guide on how you can use the built-in Find My Friends app on your iPhone to help others keep tabs on you. The link is in the description. When it comes to purchasing your gear, I would say to stick with name brands even if they are a little more expensive. As they say, buy cheap, buy twice. This concludes my tips for daytime running, nighttime running, and the gear that I use while on the sidewalk. So thank you everyone for joining me today. Find me in all the usual places, and if I don't see you safer in the outdoors, I'll see you from the sidewalk. Keep on running.